Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're journeying back in time to explore one of the most influential civilizations in human history, ancient Rome. From its humble beginnings to its colossal empire and eventual decline, the story of Rome is a truly epic tale of ambition, innovation, and power. So, how did it all begin? Our story starts not with an empire, but with a small city-state on the Italian peninsula. Legend tells us of Romulus and Remus, twin brothers suckled by a she-wolf, who founded the city of Rome on the Seven Hills in 753 BC. While that's a fantastic myth, historically, Rome grew from a collection of small Latin villages along the Tiber River. Early on, it was ruled by kings, but the Romans weren't fans of monarchy. In 509 BC, they overthrew their last king and established a new form of government, the Republic. The Roman Republic was revolutionary. Power wasn't in the hands of a single ruler, but shared among elected officials and a powerful Senate. This system, with its checks and balances, fostered a sense of civic duty and fierce patriotism. It was this unified spirit that fueled Rome's early expansion. They began by conquering their neighbors in Italy. The Roman army, with its disciplined legions and brilliant military engineering, was nearly unstoppable. They built roads, aqueducts, and fortifications wherever they went, securing their new territories and spreading their influence. But Rome's ambition didn't stop at Italy's borders. The Republic soon clashed with another great power of the Mediterranean, Carthage. This rivalry led to a series of three massive conflicts known as the Punic Wars. These wars were brutal and pushed Rome to its limits, especially against the brilliant Carthaginian general, Hannibal, who famously marched his elephants over the Alps. In the end, Rome emerged victorious, destroying Carthage and gaining control of the western Mediterranean. This victory set the stage for Rome's explosive growth. Over the next centuries, Roman legions marched across Greece, North Africa, Spain, and into parts of Asia, creating a vast and wealthy republic. However, this rapid expansion came at a cost. The Republic's political system, designed for a small city-state, struggled to manage a sprawling territory. Wealth inequality skyrocketed, political corruption became rampant, and powerful generals with loyal armies began to challenge the Senate's authority. This led to a century of bloody civil wars. Figures like Julius Caesar, Pompey the Great, and Mark Antony fought for control, ultimately tearing the Republic apart. From the ashes of the Republic rose the Roman Empire. After defeating his rivals, Julius Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, consolidated power. In 27 BC, he was granted the title Augustus, becoming the first Roman emperor. This marked the end of the Republic and the beginning of the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. This was a remarkable period of relative stability and prosperity that lasted for over 200 years. Under a succession of emperors, the Roman Empire reached its absolute greatest extent. So, just how big was it? At its peak in the early 2nd century AD, under the Emperor Trajan, the Roman Empire was a colossal entity. It stretched from the misty moors of northern Britain down to the sun-scorched deserts of Egypt. It ran from the Atlantic coast of Portugal and Morocco in the west, all the way to Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, in the east. The empire completely encircled the Mediterranean Sea, which the Romans proudly called Mare Nostrum, our sea. It's estimated that between 60 and 70 million people, about a quarter of the world's population at the time, lived within its borders. How did they manage such a vast and diverse empire? The Romans were masters of administration and engineering. They built an incredible network of over 50,000 miles of paved roads, allowing for the rapid movement of troops, trade goods, and information. A single, unified currency and a common legal system made trade and governance far more efficient. The Romans were also brilliant at cultural assimilation. Instead of just conquering and destroying, they often absorbed local cultures and granted Roman citizenship to people across the empire. This created a shared Roman identity that helped hold the vast territory together for centuries. Cities from London to Alexandria boasted Roman forums, amphitheaters, and bathhouses, all connected by the same language of law and commerce. But as we know, All great empires eventually fall. The decline of Rome wasn't a single event but a long, slow process that spanned centuries. The end of the Pax Romana in the late 2nd century marked the beginning of the crisis of the 3rd century. The empire was rocked by constant civil war, with dozens of emperors rising and falling in quick succession, often assassinated by their own troops. The economy began to crumble under the weight of hyperinflation and the immense cost of defending its vast borders. The empire faced relentless external threats. So-called barbarian tribes, like the Goths and the Vandals, pressed against the frontiers along the Rhine and Danube rivers. These weren't just random raids, they were massive migrations of entire peoples. Driven by climate change and pressure from other groups like the Huns, the Roman army, stretched thin and plagued by internal conflicts, struggled to hold the line. In an attempt to manage the unwieldy empire, Emperor Diocletian made a fateful decision in the late 3rd century. He split the empire into two halves, an eastern and a western part, each with its own ruler. While this provided some temporary stability, it ultimately formalized a division that would become permanent. The Eastern Roman Empire, with its capital at Constantinople, was wealthier and more defensible. It would survive and evolve into what we now call the Byzantine Empire, lasting for another 1,000 years. The Western Roman Empire, however, continued to decline. Its economy was in shambles, its cities were shrinking, and its political leadership was weak and ineffective. Rome itself was sacked by the Visigoths in 410 and again by the Vandals in 455, events that sent shockwaves across the ancient world. The final blow is traditionally dated to 476 AD, when the last Western Roman emperor, a young boy ironically named Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer. And so, the Western Roman Empire faded into history. But its legacy is anything but gone. Roman law forms the basis of many modern legal systems. The Romance languages like Spanish, French, Italian, and Portuguese are direct descendants of Latin. Roman engineering, architecture, and republican ideals have influenced societies for millennia. From our calendar to our alphabet to the very concept of a senate, the echoes of Rome are all around us. The story of Rome is a powerful reminder of how a small city can rise to dominate the world, and how even the mightiest of empires can crumble. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Roman history. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Let me know in the comments what other historical topics you'd like to see covered. Until next time.